In this video, I am going to show you how to get LSDTopoTools working inside of a Docker container. We're going to follow some of the instructions in the documentation website. So here's the website address, and I'm going to scroll down to the section on installing LSDTopoTools. There is a lot of information on here, but I'm about to show you that it's very short to get to the installation of LSDTopoTools. The first thing you need is Docker installed on your system. There is a section in the instructions on how to install Docker, so you need to do that first. And then you can kind of skip ahead to this section on how to get the Docker images. So the Docker images live on something called Docker Hub. So here's the website of Docker Hub. You don't actually need to go to the Docker Hub website to get any of these images, but I'm just going to show you where the images live. So if you look up LSDTopoTools, here are the images. And if you click on any of these images, it will give you instructions very similar to those in the LSDTopoTools documentation. However, you don't need to go to that website. You can just take this command and copy it into a terminal or a PowerShell window. So a terminal if you're in Mac OS and Linux, and a PowerShell window if you're in Windows. So here's a PowerShell window. I'm just going to copy this command. One thing to note about this is what this is doing. It's saying it's calling Docker. It wants you to run a container. This says it's a remote container, and this is the name of the remote container. So it will look on Docker Hub for the container, and that container is there. This says it's interactive, and this thing, the -v command, says that you want your container to sync files both in your host operating system and in the container. This is where TopoTools lives, in the container. You don't have to change that. That's set up in the container. This is the location of LSDTopoTools on your host operating system. I'm in a Windows machine, so I've done that on the C directory. It has to exist for this to work. So prior to doing this video, I had a LSDTopoTools directory set up. So this is my C drive, and there's an LSDTopoTools directory here. And it's important to note that this thing here is case sensitive, so it has to be the same case as the name of your directory in your host operating system. So I will start this up. The first time you do this, it will need to download that container from Docker Hub, and it's kind of large container, so that might take a few minutes depending on your internet connection. So let's start doing that. So I've started that up, and once you get this hash symbol here, that means you're inside the Docker container. So the Docker container is now running on a Linux operating system. So you've got a little Linux operating system with a lot of the packages you need to run LSDTopoTools already installed. Now it's Linux. I'll just use a Linux command. This lists the files. If you did this, you would really get nothing because you don't have anything installed if it's the first time you're doing it. However, I use this, so I have things installed here. And if you click in your C drive or your host operating, you'll see these directories are the same as what's in your Linux system. So basically, those two directories are synced. So if you do something inside your Docker container, you will see the files reflected in your host operating system. Now, the Docker container has a little script installed that allows you to set up LSDTopoTools. It's called start LSDTT, and because it's Linux, there's file name completion. So I just can type the first couple of letters and hit tab, and it auto-completes. When I do this, what it's going to do, it's going to grab the latest LSDTopoTools code from the internet, and then it will, if anything's new, it will build the software again. I don't actually have anything new, so this doesn't take very long at all. if you do this the first time, that will take a few minutes to build everything. However, what's happened here is all the programs from LSDTopoTools that come with the basic LSDTopoTools tool package are here now, ready to run. So for example, LSDTT basic metrics, so that program is now recognized, and if I ran that, it says you need to give me a file. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to actually run a simple analysis using the software, but by now you should be able to just fire up a Docker container and get the programs running.